I want to see how my new solar charger has done. Even though it's cold and miserable and grey, it was a bit sunny a minute ago and the sun was beating down right here. Let's have a look. It was on 65. It's on 63. That's my tent. The only one in the campsite. Because it's cold. And it's rainy. And it's miserable. And I'm a long way from home. And I'm worried. And I'm tired. So, cheers. But it's in moments like this that I reflect a little bit on why it's worth coming to these places when you're poor and skint and have to camp, and it's sometimes more effort than it could be. And I just made a video about camps where I trekked up a mountain and recorded in rain, and that was difficult. I could have recorded at home, so I have an intuition that it's worth doing, but I have to rationalize it and think about it from time to time. I'm in my car in a tunnel on a train under the sea. It's quite surreal. This is the first time I've put jeans on this year. Since summer. And I put my finger in the pocket and this tiny little bit of red stone that I remember picking up in Athens underneath the Parthenon or somewhere, which is probably illegal, by the way, but I don't think it's really from a national historic artifact. It's just a bit of red stone, but it was a little memento. And it reminded me of being in Athens and thinking about and reading about philosophy and going with two good friends, and how much of a fulfilling experience that was. But that was different. I wasn't making a video, I wasn't camping. But I also have this little notebook where I keep notes of my trips, and in particular the trips about romanticism. On the very first page, I've written down from when I went to the Lake District to train. A Wordsworth quote, I think from the prelude maybe, that says, "There are in our existence spots of time, which with distinct preeminence retain fortifying virtue, whence depressed by trivial occupancies and the round of ordinary intercourse, our minds, especially the imaginative power, are nourished and invisibly repaired." And there's a reason why Freud said that the Romantics got to psychology before anyone else, because they realised the power of memory and emotion intertwined together, how it creates us and moves us forward. That those emotional, sentimental, powerful memories that we had when we were young and continued into adulthood are the things that make up a very character. So coming to these places and reading about the philosophers in the places that they themselves wrote creates these spots of time that I think are irreducible to just simple words or theories or arguments that you read in books. There's something more when you put them in place, when you put them in their geographies and their cultures and their localities. You get a sense of space and distance. For example, here I'm travelling around the area that the Grimm brothers wrote their fairy tales, and they were heavily influenced by the philosophy and the romantics that came just before them. They wanted to preserve local myths and tales, and in that sense they were some of the first anthropologists. And it forges certain pathways when you come, neural pathways, when you come and think about these ideas in the places where they are. So I was just driving along past this industrial estate and I just saw Little Red Riding Hood. You know, you're taking in through the senses the architecture, the landscape, the people, the language, the music. You're just soaking stuff in that you can't get from a text, from a book. There's also spontaneity and happenstance and random encounters that you get when you're travelling around that you couldn't mimic from reading in your home. What's your name again?
Dennis.
And what do you do?
Well, I'm doing a small road trip with a bike because I haven't been bicycling for 20 years, and so now I do like a 3,500 kilometer road trip all over Europe with my small black dog. YouTube?
But he doesn't like TikTok.
No, TikTok he doesn't like. YouTube?
Yeah. And what's your channel?
My channel is Ruby on Trails. I have a new sticker on my dog trailer. It's brand new, so if you like people bicycling around the world without any goal, you should follow my channel.
Please subscribe.
I remember when we went to the Lake District and I was reading about the Romantics. We went to Wordsworth's house and the person showing us around kindly said that the curator there, a really nice man called Jeff, would probably be happy to talk to me on camera. And I was really nervous about that, but she put us in contact and I went back a couple of days after and he let me interview him. And that went up on the channel and that was a really formative moment, and I got insight into Wordsworth I never would have had. And similarly here, I was in Marburg, I think it was, yesterday. And there was a tower in the distance from the town right up on the hill. And I googled it and it happened to be the tower that Rapunzel was based on, and I happened to have the complete collection of the Grimm fairy tales in my car. So I drove up there and I sat and read Rapunzel, which is only a few pages long in its original, underneath the original tower, which again, whether it's real or imagined, is an experience not to be forgotten. I think there's also the very real scientific sense that you are releasing dopamine. I'm not sure if it is dopamine, but you're in an exploratory mindset when you're traveling around, which creates a certain base foundation feeling in your mind, which is kind of subtle excitement and expectation and slightly on edge, and again that creates neural pathways that you can't mimic sat in your comfy armchair. That makes you think things and write things and record things and go in directions that you probably wouldn't otherwise. There's also a Novalis museum nearby, which I didn't know, which I'm going to go to, and I'm reading Novalis here. I have his book. So all these triggers, all these exciting psychological triggers, they can't be mimicked, and they can only be explored and utilised and made the most of while travelling. So it just adds a inimitable fullness to the experience of the world and how you interpret the world, what you want to write, what you want to say, what you want to do, how you communicate it, the videos, in my case, that you make, the words that you write. So really that's just a note to myself, but hopefully you might find it useful, even in a small sense too. Oh, and also it's just a challenge, and you need a challenge to grow.
And I have a plant.
Yeah, I like the plant.
It's a palm, and its name is Palmy. It was a gift actually, and yeah, I thought I don't have enough weight on my front, so maybe I need some more weight. but I don't know if she's so happy. This leaf is like a little bit unhappy.
But she's had plenty of rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she gets the coffee. When I finish my coffee in the morning, I put the coffee powder on it.